March 22nd, and the big announcement out of the Federal Reserve. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. Alright, March 22nd is the big day and the announcement out of the Federal Reserve, as they'll be wrapping up their two-day meeting and letting us know what they're going to be doing with interest rates. That's what I want to talk about here in this video, because this is going to be very impactful for all of us. Therefore, we probably want to pay attention to what's going on. So let's get right into it. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here, or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video, as it's totally free to do so. And because I am your one and only daily advocate, I'm here for you right by your side every single day, watching all this new information hitting the wire, breaking it all down into these short videos so you can stay updated with what's actually going on, and most importantly, how it's going to impact you, your money, your benefits, your lifestyle, your bank account, and of course, anything popping up out there right now you can possibly grab and or take advantage of. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and also remember, I'm here for you in any way that I possibly can be. That's my dedication, that's my commitment, and as always, that's my promise to you and everybody right here in the community. Alright, let's get into it and talk about what's going on March 22nd, the big announcement coming out of the Federal Reserve, and what all of that means for us as they'll be wrapping up their two-day FOMC meeting, free open market committee meeting that they have every 6 weeks, and what this announcement means for us. Now remember, this inflation that we're currently dealing with right now has been going on for the last almost 2 years, since roughly mid-2021, right? A very long time that we've had high inflation. Well, as a result of that, the Federal Reserve has been coming out like what we saw through most of 2022, aggressively raising interest rates to bring down some of this inflation. Well, it's maybe brought it down a little bit, but remember, inflation actually peaked out way back in the summer of 2022, in fact in June, at 9.1%. That's very, very high, considering the Federal Reserve generally wants inflation to be around 2 to 2.5%. So they got their work cut out for them, and we know as of the latest CPI release here just a day or two ago that we got that new information that came out and showing that inflation is still very, very elevated, above the 2 to 2.5% range that the Federal Reserve wants. Well, as a result of that, we got to continue watching this new report coming out of the Federal Reserve and their announcement on the afternoon of March 22nd to see what are they going to do with interest rates. Are they going to raise interest rates to bring this inflation down even more and to basically disencourage all of us to spend money, businesses, things like this, to basically save our money rather than spending it, because ultimately that is what they believe is going to bring down this inflation. Because when people are spending too much money, when there's too much money in circulation, as a result of that, it drives prices higher, especially with some of the supply chain issues that we've been seeing, the supply and demand imbalances. And as a result of that, we've seen over the last couple of years here, these prices on everything going very, very high. And still, even right now, prices are still very elevated on a lot of different things out there, right? Just like what we've seen with this latest inflation report, we continue to see that, yes, prices are still very, very high right now on a lot of different things. It's very weird, because sometimes we've seen some prices come down on different sectors across the economy, and we've also seen very high prices on other things, and prices virtually have not budged on a lot of different things. So as a result of that, we got to continue watching all of this stuff very closely. And again, this announcement coming out of the Federal Reserve is going to be very indicative of what's going on with the economy, what's going on with prices, and the approach of the Federal Reserve as far as what are they going to do here with interest rates, and what is their approach to bring this inflation even lower. They still got their work cut out for them. Their inflation is still very, very high right now. Now again, why I want to continue to point this out and why this is very important coming out of the Federal Reserve, because when they raise interest rates, that means that they're raising interest rates on all of us, as in if we have any kind of debt out there on anything, like for example, if we have any type of credit card debt or any type of adjustable interest rates, maybe like an adjustable rate mortgage or maybe a home equity line of credit or lines of credit, these types of instruments that do have adjustable interest rates, guess what? If they raise interest rates, guess what's happening to interest rates? They're going higher. That means it costs more for all of us to borrow money. So if we're borrowing money on a credit card, As in, if we have a balance that we're floating on a credit card, guess what? That interest rate is going up if they raise interest rates, right? Now, again, this is also tied to all these other interest rates out there. And basically, any money that we have borrowed at the time, again, it's going to make it more expensive unless it happens to be a fixed interest rate. For example, like a fixed interest rate on an auto loan, or maybe a student loan, or maybe a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, something like that. Of course, it's not going to impact fixed rates, provided you're already locked in. But if you're looking to lock in any type of interest rates like this, again, if they raise, it's going to just bring those prices even higher, right? Making it even more difficult for those people that are, paying on different things like this. Just makes it even more difficult for anybody to actually get ahead these days, because it means that we're actually paying more in interest. In other words, pretty much just throwing money out the window at that point, right? Because it's serving us no purpose other than basically just paying more interest. However, there's one teeny tiny silver lining to all of this. Now, again, this actually applies to a very small percentage of the population, but again, I want to throw it out there anyway because there is one minor silver lining, and that is if you happen to be one of the very few lucky ones out there who actually has a little teeny tiny bit of money saved in maybe a checking account, a savings account, something like that, maybe a CD, something like that. Well, interest rates on these items would be moving higher if they do raise interest rates yet again. So if they raise interest rates on savings accounts, CDs, and things like that will actually be moving higher as well. Now, again, don't get me wrong. The interest rates on these items, like, for example, a savings account, like a high-yield savings account, is still going to be significantly lower than the real inflation that we're currently dealing with right now. So maybe we're paying, let's just say that inflation is at 6%, okay? Okay, obviously we're paying 6% in inflation, 6% higher on prices, but at the same time, we might be getting, say, 3.5% in a savings account. So again, you can clearly see it's not really making sense, right? We're still far behind. So anyway, that is one of the little silver linings on all this. But again, at the same time, I completely recognize this is for a very small percentage of the population because most people simply don't have any money saved right now, right? We've continued to see that from all these reports coming out right now, that virtually nobody has any money. Like a huge percentage of the population is living paycheck to paycheck. So how are you supposed to save any money when you're living paycheck to paycheck? Yeah, exactly. Nobody does, right? That's what we continue to see. So anyway, as a result of this, we've got to continue watching this announcement coming out of the Federal Reserve and what they're going to be doing with interest rates as a result of their wrapping up of this meeting, their 2-day FOMC meeting, the Free Open Market Committee meeting. They come together every 6 weeks and they have one of these meetings, and then they come out and they have this announcement, and then, of course, followed up by the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, coming out and having the news conference, and again, talking very carefully because if he says the wrong thing, everyone's going to jump all over it. So if you ever listen to Jerome Powell speak, he speaks very, very carefully because everybody listens to literally every single word that he says. They digest it, and then, of course, all kinds of things will happen. Here's something else I want to point out as well. When this announcement hits the wire, the stock market will be very volatile. Stock market, bond market, the crypto market, all of these markets will be very volatile on that announcement. So if you happen to be watching any of that or, happen to be investing at the time, just please be very careful about that. Generally, they kind of whip around quite a bit on these announcements. So just, kind of be aware of that. I know there's not a lot of you here in the community that are engaging in the markets at that time. But again, just want to throw that out there just in case you happen to be. So again, this is a very big announcement. There's a lot of big stuff going on right now, a lot of big announcements hitting the wire. This is another one coming out of the Federal Reserve, and this is when it happens to be. The afternoon of March 22nd, so not that long from right now. Again, by the way, that is Tuesday. Tuesday is the big day. And again, as I get more details on that, of course, I'll keep you posted. I'll watch that announcement very closely, and I'll bring you the updates as they come out of the Federal Reserve on that day. But either way, we got to watch all this stuff because, unfortunately, we are kind of at the mercy of all these announcements that are coming out right now. We are at the mercy of anything that they do with interest rates. If they raise them, if they lower them, whatever they do, if they hold steady. Unfortunately, this inflation is ripping everybody apart right now. And if, it's kind of a sad situation. The finances of a lot of people right now are not in a good situation. And again, this inflation is certainly not helping in any way, shape, or form. So we got to continue watching all this because the Federal Reserve is, doing what they can. But at the same time, it might be bringing inflation down. But then again, if you're floating out any balances on credit cards or you're opening new types of loans or auto loan or home equity line of credit or mortgages or student loans or personal loans, literally doesn't matter, any of this stuff, all of this is going to be tied to higher interest rates. Again, very important. So I'm here for you in any way that I can be. Again, I want to give you a quick little update on what's going on here and this date that we got to watch here very closely because it will be very impactful and it's going to be a big announcement yet again. So I'll continue to keep you posted. Again, please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands and thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day, have a good one, and stay warm out there. I'll catch you again later in the next video.